gives everyone their due. So, but to give everyone their due, their rights, their freedoms, you have to restrain your own freedoms. People only act justly because they fear punishment, personal, social, or legal. So one of the ways that Mr. Subvideo enforces the rule of wearing uniforms is there are consequences. And the consequences and the punishments, as we saw yesterday, provide deterrence, anticipation. What will happen if you break the rules? So you're free to break the rules, but there are consequences. Punishment depends on detection, so you have to catch them. And gods can be bought off with sacrifice. This is from the Greek perspective, the gods of Olympus. Okay, so Gyges finds a ring in the chasm. A lowly shepherd finds a ring which gives him the power of invisibility. So I have a few photographs of Lord of the Rings from the video we saw. So the biggest power you have is the power of invisibility, and no one can see what you do. And you can do and go places no one will ever know. The ring possesses magical power. So in Harry Potter, it's like the cloak. You put on the cloak, you become invisible. So it grants total invisibility. The ring, no one knows you have it. You're totally free to act in any way you desire without suffering social or legal judgment. Why the Gyges, what the Gyges do with this newfound power? So there's a picture of a Greek coin with Gyges in it, and he's from the area called Lydia. So he's a shepherd. He discovers a ring which makes him invisible. He uses his power for personal enrichment. He seduces the queen of the kingdom, kills her husband, the king, and becomes ruler himself. And over here we have H.G. Wells, his novel, The Invisible Man. Okay, so he seduces the queen, he kills her husband, and then he becomes ruler himself. If you could get away with it, would you? And this is going to be your journal for today. If you had the ring in your possession, what would you do? If it grants you invisibility, no one knows you have it, you're totally free to act in any way you desire without suffering social or legal judgment. First question you have to ask yourself is, would you use it? Second question you have to ask yourself is, would there be limits on its use? Would you use it just for personal satisfaction, for revenge, to have an unfair advantage over everyone else? So why not use it to satisfy your every desire, gain power, and crush enemies? Get some revenge. Okay, just before you start your journals, a few more slides just to dwell deeper into this issue. So if you can get away with it, might you? The completely rational man will seek to be unjust where possible, just when necessary. Put in your thinking cap and think about this. Injustice is always better if you can get away with it. Justice is only instrumentally good in some cases if you have a high chance of being caught and there's severe consequences. Well, Plato thought that even a just person would do it for just this one time, and then maybe a second time, and then becomes habitually used to the power that the ring gives. So an unjust person will automatically lose it. Someone who's selfish and individualistic and egotistic or proud will automatically use it. A just person, some may use it, get tempted by the power that it has, and some may stay strong with their virtuous character and not use it. A just man acts justly, does not use the ring. But if you're a just person, you have the power. People will see you as a just person, but behind your back, they'll say you're really a fool. Even if a just man had this ring, he would act unjustly. And if he did not act unjustly, not everyone would think he was an idiot, though they would praise him to his face. An idiot's a fool. Because they would say, if I had the ring, I would use it. You're a better person than I am. The difference between a just person's and an unjust person's action. Suppose you had a ring that would make you invisible, allowing you to commit injustice without being discovered. If such a ring were available, how would a just person's actions differ from an unjust person? Number one, if there would be no difference, that shows we only think of justice as good as a means. Back to Kant, as a means to an end. So you can use it for good things. So a just person might steal lots of food to give it to the poor. That's the whole point of Robin Hood. If a just person remains just, even though he can get away with it, with being unjust, then that shows that people consider justice to be good. Okay, so again, another moral dilemma that we're faced: to use the ring or not to use the ring. Is it worth taking a chance? What if you cannot get away with it? So even petty crime has serious consequences. Consistent bad behavior will ostracize you in front of others. Large consequences can make even a small risk not worthwhile. So I remember this happening. A judge decided to impose a penalty on someone who stole from Walmart. Rather than put her in jail, he made her wear a sign outside of a Walmart for, I think it was one weekend or one day. I am a thief. I stole from Walmart. This is the ultimate of humiliation and embarrassment, and the judge's decision should have been appealed. Um, Justice is not retribution, not punishment, not making fools of people, trying to embarrass them. Uh, Justice is intended to get the person to admit what they did and then try to rehabilitate them, find a different course of action, perhaps community service, working at a seniors building or at a food bank, give back to the community. Um, but it tells you the point that if you're caught, the embarrassment is bad enough, let alone the consequences. If you were caught, and what kind of person people are going to think you are. We talked about cheating already. We are more likely to cheat if we see others doing so. We tend to conform to accepted norms of reasonable behavior rather than adhere to strict rules. So having the ring is a form of cheating. Cheating is a form of lying, and this is not what God commanded us to do as virtuous people. To act justly or not to act justly, Albert Einstein says if people are good only because they fear punishment and hope for reward, then we are sorry lot indeed. We should be good because it's good, because we care for others and we care for ourselves. We want a virtuous character and we want to help other people become virtuous as well. How to be moral? The virtue of prudence. Aquinas says this prudence is right reason in action. How do we grow in prudence? Grace, God's gift of love. Always remember God loves us and is always there for us. Experience in life is a great educator. You learn by making mistakes, and you learn by not repeating mistakes or making new mistakes. And thirdly, an honest evaluation of your mistakes. Really reflect upon what happened, what you did, and how did it take you away from who you really should be. How does a person become prudent in every action? This is our last unit on conscious guilt. Ask questions, search out the facts. What is the moral object? The what of the action? What is the intention or motive? Answers the question why. And what are the circumstances? Answers the question who, when, where, and how. The basic moral principles we looked at in St. Thomas Aquinas in natural law is first and foremost, do good and avoid evil. Secondly, do unto others what you would have them do unto you, or in a positive sense, love your neighbor as yourself. Third, the end does not justify the means. And fourthly, natural law. Always remember we're made in the image and likeness of God, and we have to work at this. Again, review from the Sermon on the Mount. We saw the same ideas. Love your enemies. Be good to those who hate you. Pray for people who hurt you. Do not condemn what is in other people's hearts. Only God can judge. Pay more attention to working on your own weaknesses than on weaknesses of others. Be as concerned about your intentions as your actions, what is in your heart. And do not spend your whole life seeking security and comfort. Dedicate yourself to the things of the Spirit, and God will take care of you. And the last picture, which sort of summarizes imprudence and how Gyges was imprudent, and how having the ring in your possession and being tempted to use it and then using it for good or for bad is simply one fish eating another fish, eating another fish, and eating another fish. It's a fish eat fish world out there. Okay, so let's go back here. Did David join us? Not yet. Okay. Who else has joined us? I've got 32 people here. Let's briefly look at this. Okay. All right. So what I'd like you to do in the next 20 minutes is now work on your journal. First, are there any questions? We have some questions here. Okay. Um, um, while you're working your journal, I'll take these questions. Okay, Azine, I'll hold on to that question until we get to the test section. Just before the test, I'll go over it with you and ask. I got your test. Thank you. Say, we have a long weekend to work on a CPT. I'm going to say something that's going to shock you, okay? Don't work on your CPT. Don't work on anything. And this goes for everyone. I am going to say in a strange way, I'm ordering you not to do any work this weekend. I am commanding you not to do any work. My assignment for you is to not to do any work. The only assignment I want you to have this weekend is to live life, spend time with those who are close to you, your family, stay safe, get some fresh air, breathe, and put your schoolwork away. You have lots of time later on. If you want to spend one day on it, that's fine, but spend your whole weekend on getting a break from everything. Okay, say. Michelle, for the PowerPoint from yesterday, is there a way you could send it to us as a PDF? That's the PowerPoint presentation. I'll try. Some people are still having trouble. Okay. For Louisa, everybody for the test, ahead of time, you have to write it. No typing at this time, please. I want you to get more out of it by writing it. Those of you who write like a doctor, please try to make it a bit neater. I can read most writing. So please try to be a little bit neat. You have lots of time to do it. Azine, so for our journal, should we answer the 3 questions according to the ring? No. I just want you to answer one question, Azine, and that is, if you had the ring, would you use it? Or would you not use it? And then just tell me why or why not. So have some fun with this ring. You have all the power in your hand now, or on your finger, and you can do all kinds of bad things. You can do all kinds of good things. Would you use it? I'll give you an example for everyone. Think of if you had the ring and you could sneak into Mr. Stravidio's office and find out the combination of the safe and get copies of all the exams and make a fortune selling the exams. Or you could break into a bank, steal money because you're invisible, and then solve poverty and take care of all the poor people and the homeless people with all that money that is stashed in the bank. So you can do good, you can do bad. Okay, so if you had it, it's a personal journal for yourself. Nathan, I'll go over that later. about culture, death, and culture life. That's basically reviewing for the test. I'll do that just before I give you the test. Same thing with Zilan. I'll go over it with you again. Michelle, the file's too big. What I'll try and do, there's actually three PowerPoints at one. So I'll try to, it's supposed to be on a Google Drive. Someone told me you can't preview, you have to download it. But what I'll do is I'll try and break it up into three PowerPoints over the weekend and send it to you guys. That would make it smaller. Okay, sorry about that. I know you were absent. I hope everything's well and you're back today. So can you briefly explain Gospel of Matthew? Ben, I'll go over that again later. But right now I want you to work on the journal. But how we turn in our test to you if we write it. Same thing, you take you take a picture of it or you scan it like always. And and then you send it to me. Okay, Louisa? Are you okay with taking a picture and send it to me?
So sorry for interruption, but when our test start?
After your journal at about 15, 20 minutes.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Zemo. What I want everyone to do right now is do your journals and send it to me. You should have a lot of fun with this. From Bruce Almighty, you got the power. So if you had the power of the ring, what would you do with it? Or you would not use it. Okay. I'll stop about 20 after. So about 15 minutes. It shouldn't take you that long to do the journal because it's a fun kind of journal. And then we'll write the test, and then we'll have a beautiful weekend. Okay, say just to let you know, I